They say power doesn't knock. It enters quietly, with papers already signed. In Ghana, there was once a man who believed banking was not about marble floors or foreign accents, but about speed, trust, and mercy. A man who believed small businesses deserved oxygen. A man who built a bank for people who were invisible to other banks. His name was Prince Kofi Amoameng. He did not inherit vaults or colonial balance sheets. He did not come from old money. He came from hunger, from debt, from the sharp education that comes when banks say no and doors close politely in your face. So he built his own door. UT started small, almost fragile. A lending company that moved fast, spoke plainly, and looked people in the eye. Tailors, traders, mechanics, market women, people with no patience for paperwork and no time for slow approvals. UT gave them money when no one else would. And it worked. Too well. The bank grew teeth. It grew enemies. It grew into something the old system did not recognize or forgive. UT Bank did not behave like a bank was supposed to behave. It didn't wait. It didn't beg. It didn't wear fear like a tie. It lent boldly. It collected aggressively. It made profit where others saw risk. And it made Prince Amoameng visible. Visibility is dangerous. In Ghana, banks are not just financial institutions. They are political objects. They sit at the intersection of money, power, regulation, and silence. When governments change, banks hold their breath. When policies shift, banks bleed quietly. Then came the cleanup. They called it a banking sector reform, a sanitation exercise, a necessary purge to protect depositors. On paper, it sounded noble. In practice, it was brutal, fast, and final. Licenses were revoked, doors were sealed, boards were dissolved. Assets were reassigned. And UT Bank, once celebrated, once awarded, once praised, was suddenly described with one word: insolvent. Just like that. No long trial in the court of public opinion. No drawn-out rescue. No slow suffocation. One announcement. One morning. One signature. The bank was gone. They said the numbers didn't add up. That capital was inadequate. That governance was weak. That loans had gone bad. That rules had been broken. And maybe some had, but here is the part that never sits quietly in the dark. Other banks were sick too. Some worse. Some deeply rotten. Some hemorrhaging quietly behind polished annual reports. But not all of them were erased. Some were merged. Some were rescued. Some were given time. UT was taken. Absorbed. Its assets transferred. Its brand erased. Its staff scattered. Its customers confused. Its founder arrested, not fined. Not quietly sidelined, arrested. They put handcuffs on the man who once funded thousands of dreams. They paraded him through headlines that had once praised him. The same newspapers that celebrated his rise now feasted on his fall. Fraud, stealing, causing financial loss to the state. Words are weapons when repeated enough times. But trials move slowly. Evidence whispers. And silence grows thick when questions are uncomfortable. Ask this quietly. If UT was beyond saving, why was it valuable enough to be taken over whole? Ask another. If the problem was mismanagement, why was punishment immediate, but accountability selective? Ask the most dangerous question. Who benefited from UT's death? Because when a bank collapses, it is never just numbers that fall. Employees lose jobs. Suppliers go unpaid. Borrowers are blacklisted overnight. Small businesses choke. The ripples spread quietly. Market women who depended on UT's fast loans found no replacements. SMEs that survived on rolling credit were suddenly told to wait 6 months, submit collateral, and speak to someone who did not know their name. Trust vanished, not just in UT, in the system. Prince Amoameng sat in cells while his bank lived on under another name, another logo, another story. The building still stood. The accounts still existed. The money still moved, just not for him. They said justice was being served, but justice is loud. Justice explains itself. Justice does not hide behind press statements and sealed reports. What happened felt cleaner than justice, more surgical, more administrative, a theft with paperwork. And the government of the time stood firm. They said the cleanup saved the economy. They said depositors were protected. They said the sacrifice was necessary. History often belongs to whoever speaks last, but there is another kind of history, the one told in low voices, in taxis, in shop bars, in nighttime conversations where people lean in and lower their tone. That history says this: UT was not perfect, but it was not alone. Its sin was not failure. Its sin was independence. Prince Amoabeng had built something outside the old banking aristocracy. He did not need their approval. He did not speak their language. He did not wait his turn. And when the state came with a broom, it swept hardest where resistance was weakest. Years passed. Court cases dragged. Charges shifted. Narratives softened. The rage cooled. The country moved on, as countries always do. But the man did not get his bank back. He did not get an apology. He did not get restoration. He did not get silence either. His name remained suspended between hero and villain, success and shame. A cautionary tale told to young entrepreneurs. Grow, but not too fast. Shine, but not too bright. Build, but remember who owns the ground beneath you. Because in some countries, you can lose your business without losing the building. You can lose your company without losing the cash flow. You can lose everything except the proof that it was taken. This is not a story about innocence or guilt. It is a story about power, about how the state can collapse a man in the name of stability, about how systems protect themselves before they protect people, about how banks can die and still live just under new ownership. Prince Kofi Amoabeng once believed banking was about trust. Now his story is a warning etched into the financial memory of a nation, that sometimes the most successful robbery does not involve guns. It involves laws, announcements, and a signature that arrives in the morning while the city is still asleep.